the intention that your comeback story can inspire at least one person listening out there. So
cool. That's cool.
Light our little sage. We'll send some to you virtually.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to turn it over to you to give us your intro. Who are you? What do you do? Where have you been?
My name is Eric Legrand. I'm a former Rutgers football player who was paralyzed back in 2010. My actually 10-year anniversary just came past on October 16th. And, life, it's been crazy, but I always say it's been nothing but blessings that has actually happened to me the past 10 years. The places I've gotten to go, the people I've gotten to meet, the things I've gotten to do. It's honestly it's truly special. And I feel like my purpose down here is to help people overcome through their adversity.
I mean, you're already super inspiring just in your intro.
Yeah. Well, we are so excited to sit down with you. For anybody watching at home who doesn't follow sports or, hasn't seen you either on the espys or anywhere you've definitely been very outspoken and very inspirational these past 10 years. But for anybody who's watching that doesn't know about your injury, take us back to that rock bottom moment from the games October 16th and, kind of give us a little rundown of what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll break it down for you. So we had just tied up the game 17-17 in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left in the game. And in my head as a football player, let me go down there and make a big play for my team and, try to get our offense back the ball so we can go win the game. And, for people that don't maybe not watch football, I was facing a double team that game. So as soon as the ball was kicked off, 2 guys came to block me, but I was able to get right through them. So I had a good 30, 40-yard head start on this guy I'm going to make a tackle on. And I'm saying to myself when I'm running down the field, do I want to use my head or do I want to use my shoulder? I said, this is going to be a big collision. Let me use my shoulder on this play. And if you ever seen the video, if you want to watch the video, you can easily just YouTube it or, Google it. But as I got down there, my teammate got down there a half a second before I did. And anybody who's ever played football before, when you're going to tackle with your head, you see what you hit, you keep your head up. I thought my head was going to be out of the plane. I was going to use my shoulder. My teammate tripped the guy up and his body twirled in the air. I put my head down thinking it wasn't going to be a tackle at all. The crown of my head went right into the back of his shoulder blade. He fractured his collarbone and I fractured my C3, C4 vertebrae and I laid on the ground, motionless. And my trainers come out and they say, Eric, is it your head or your neck? And all I could say was, I can't breathe. Like, can you feel this? Can you feel that? And I was like, I can't breathe. And my coach comes out and says, Eric, you have to pray. And honestly, when he said that to me, I can't move, I can't breathe. I'm thinking, my life is over. And at one point, I did close my eyes and I said, God, take me at ease. And as nothing happened, I went back to panicking and they lifted me up onto the board and somehow I caught a gasp of air. So if you ever felt like you ever knocked the wind out of yourself, that's exactly what it felt like. Little did I know at the time my diaphragm was paralyzed, but went to give a thumbs up to the crowd and it felt like there was a 1,000-pound cinder block laying on my hand. They put me in the ambulance, put an oxygen mask on me. I'm thinking I'll be able to take that inhale, exhale. Went to breathe in and I couldn't do anything else and I blacked out in the ambulance.
Now, did you have any idea how serious your injury was at that moment?
I didn't. I thought honestly that it was just a stinger. I've had a stinger on my shoulder where my whole shoulder goes numb for a minute and then it eventually comes back. So I'm like, all right, maybe it's just a full body stinger. I caught a gasp of air for a second. I'll be able to breathe again soon. And as things start to get blurry, I remember getting to the hospital and it's like a movie scene, when they're getting carted down the hall and it's like boom, 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 like the heart pounding. It was literally like that. And then I get into a room with a bunch of doctors. It sounds like they're speaking a different language to me. Black out, wake up one more time, and now I'm in this room filled with just a bunch of sounds and monitors going off. And I really don't remember much until I woke up on Wednesday. And this injury happened to me on a Saturday. But I always try to tell people that my mom, my family, my friends, my teammates, those first, 3, 4, 5 days, they had it way worse than I did because I just wasn't conscious. Mm-hmm. They had to go through that and it was tough. When I woke up to a room now filled with a bunch of jerseys and helmets. My mom, my sister, my aunt designed up my room to make it, look nice and homely. And I was just like, wow, it's amazing. And the people that started to come into my room, everybody was so upbeat and so positive and motivating. Little did I know that night of my injury, two doctors that came into the room with my mom, one of my best friends on my team, my teammate Scott Malone, and then his mom, and they gave her the news. They said, your son has fractured his C3, C4 vertebrae. He'll be paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life. He'll never walk again. He'll never eat solid foods. He'll never breathe on his own. And we're hoping he's strong enough to make it through the surgery. Now imagine being my mother hearing that. And that completely, my teammate busted down the room, ran down the hallway, cursing and screaming at his mom. Had to go console him, but my mom, they let me see her before I went into surgery. And I still say, I remember this, and it's like iffy, but my adrenaline must have still been flowing from the game. And I said 3 words to my mother before I went into the surgery. I looked at her and I was like, I'll be back. And when she heard me say that, she was like, whoever sees him from here on out, do not let him see you upset. If you gotta cry, step out. If you're upset, step out. But you must be positive. And honestly, like I said, after that, everyone who came into my room was like, what's up, E? What's going on? And I'm sitting there like, what's going on? Like, tubes coming all out of me and stuff. But it was just that positive energy that I needed to jumpstart everything.
To make that, choice for you, I think that was amazing.
It was absolutely clutch, just to, honestly, I could go back to the days of just everyone coming into my room. And then months and months later, when I'm talking to my friends, they're like, man, we left that room devastated, crying in the car, bawling our eyes out. And I was like, what did I look like? Because I had to know they're like, you're just laying there stiff, not moving, neck brace on, tubes coming out of your stomach, I still have the scar, the ventilator tube coming out of my throat, like my throat area. Just like all this stuff. So I'm like, I try to put myself in their shoes. And I could only imagine, that's my friends seeing them like that. So I just thank them for everyone just being so positive. I remember I was so highly medicated. My one friend, Tyler, comes in. He's like, E, what's going on, man? I'm like, Ty, where's the party at tonight? And he was like, and he didn't know how to react. He was like,
right here, right in the room.
He's like, I don't think you're going to a party tonight, E. I think you need to just take it easy. I was like, okay.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
It really does pay to have like a positive support team around you.
What was going through your brain, through your mind when you were told how serious your injury actually was and, what potentially the rest of your life was going to look like?
Yeah, it was a scary moment. So I would say a few weeks into my injury, my mom had asked me a few times, let me know when you want to talk about it. Let me know when you're ready. And first 2 times I was just like, whatever, we'll talk soon. And when she told me the injury, I was just, what had happened, what the doctors had said. I kind of went into that athlete mindset. Listen, like, no, you're not going to tell me like what I can't do. And, I'm going to start whatever I need to do and start grinding hard, working hard. Things started to get better for me, slowly but surely. And I started to actually do some therapy. And I got moved to my inpatient rehab after I left the hospital after 3 weeks. I was at Kessler Institute in West Orange, New Jersey. And I remember one night I could not sleep with that ventilator because of the noise. It was just like, swoosh, swoosh. I'm like, I asked my respiratory therapist, I'm like, would you please just take this ventilator out? Like, she goes, if I take this off, so, you're gonna have to go back on in like a minute. I'm like, perfect, give me that minute to fall asleep. And she took me off, and an hour and a half later, I was still breathing on my own. And she was like, oh, maybe you are ready to wean off of that. And then 2 weeks later, I was fully breathing on my own again. Nice. I got hurt on October 16th at Thanksgiving after they told me I would be on a feeding tube coming out of my stomach for the rest of my life. I ate a full solid meal with my family for Thanksgiving. So these little things started to happen for me. So I'm like, they told me I'll never walk in, never do this, never do that. And now I'm doing certain things. That's the motivation I needed right there. And then just all the people that were supporting me. I've always been the type of person, if you're counting on me, you're believing on me, in me, I'm going to get the job done. I hate being the person that disappoints you or I'm not carrying my weight. I'm always going to be that person. I'm going to carry my weight. I'm going to do what I have to do. So that's the mindset that I got into, and here I am today.
I feel like it has a lot to do with, that self-discipline that as an athlete growing up, you're training how many days a week? And it's like, you have to have that belief in yourself and the discipline to, do things that are uncomfortable and do things that you don't necessarily, I'm sure it's easy, right? When you're told you're not going to be able to do this ever again, to fall into this downward spiral and just kind of lose your motivation. But I feel like because you had that background as an athlete, that really it's like the same tools that you need to train to become an athlete, but then to train to make your recovery.
You're going right down my alley, girl. This is what I'm all about. So I always say being an athlete, it sets you up, of course, to be an athlete, but it sets you up for a good life. It allows you the skills of self-discipline, learning how to go through self-evaluation moments, learning how to work together as a team, learn how to pick yourself up when everything is, crashing down against you, and being able to continue to grind and work hard through that mindset of just never giving up. And that's exactly what I decided to do when when this all happened to me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to use these therapy sessions as my weight room sessions. And when I start to get back little things, that's my game day victory. That's when I sit there, I celebrate the moment and enjoy it. And I go back to working again, celebrate for the moment. Then on Monday, it's back to the grind. And that's the attitude that I took towards my rehab, getting better. Like I said, things started to come back slowly but surely, but so many people are now picking up on my story. The Rutgers football player, how's he doing? I saw him get injured, and honestly, that motivation from all these random people around the world reaching out to me, that's really just, okay, these people are looking up to me for motivation, inspiration. I can't let these people down. I have to be the best that I can be each and every day.
Love that. Yeah. Such a good mindset to have. What did you fear the most about this whole journey ahead of you, after your injury, like getting the diagnosis, hearing all these things? What was like your biggest fear?
The fear of the unknown, and really the not knowing what's going to come next. I go from being on the top of the world, hoping I'm going to get drafted into the NFL in the next 2 years, to laying on a hospital bed and now having to rely on nurses and doctors and aides to take care of me, and then you start to think, what is my life going to be like? How am I going to get my degree? What's my relationship going to be like with my girlfriend at the time? What's my family relationship like? How am I going to get around? I'm so from being so independent to now having to rely on so many other people. What is that going to be like? And I learned, you know what, E? Just take it day by day, because you're not going to solve this all at one time. You figure things out and you learn to adapt to your environment, adapt to your situation. We're humans. You train behavior becomes instinct. What we start to do over and over and over repeatedly, it becomes your natural instinct to do. So as I'm going through this day by day, learning this new life as a quadriplegic, it actually opened up a lot to me, because my life before my injury was Rutgers football, weight room sessions, training sessions, football practice, class, had a little bit of a social life, but that was my little bubble. After my injury, I was opened up to a whole new world of just, not my injury, just so many other people. I had no idea that was going on with life when I was in college. So it kind of just opened up another door for me. You
think about 10 years ago where we were at mentally, like to be 20 years old and have that mindset. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty incredible. What's something you wish that you know now that you wish you knew back then?
I wish that I knew that I was going to be in the position I am today. When I was laying there in those dark nights, I'll go into the fear, the terror, those dark nights that I had, the terror of the darkness. Geez, you go from, like I said, taking care of yourself to now you're laying in the bed. My mom and my family, they've been up for 3 straight days. It's now time for them to go to the hotel that that Rutgers got for them they got to sleep. They got to get some rest so they can, be the best that they can. The next day, so now my coaches getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go through his whole day of practice, recruiting, doing all that thing, and then coming up to stay with me at 11 p.m. until 2 a.m. in the morning, just to be by my side, because people didn't want to leave me alone. I didn't want to be alone. I couldn't move. I can't take care of myself. I was terrified. I would fake every night like I was sleeping so he would go home, because I felt bad that he was there all the time. And then I was by myself. And I learned that I had to, branch out to these nurses, the ones that are sitting there on staff, and I learned, you never know where a conversation may take you. I remember the nurses would sit there and chart on their notes, and it's funny because I was this big 6'2", 275-pound football player, and I'm like, can you just sit in the room with me and talk? Can you just sit in here with me and just, I don't want to be by myself, just can you talk? And a lady came in there, and one great woman sat there, just started doing her notes with me, ended up having a conversation, found out her 2 daughters went to Penn State. I was like, boo, and just open up and see another side of, people, and let me put down my barrier of not trusting people and allowing me to, okay, these people are here for my best interest. They're trying to help me. they want me to get better. So it kind of just now allowed me to, I don't need my mom, my family, my coach around at all the time. I have people here that are trying to help me. So that helped me get through those dark times, because those nights were tough. I was up pretty much all night in the very beginning, not wanting to go to sleep.
Wow. Do you still keep in touch with the nurse or any of the nurses?
That's for like the first, I want to say 3 to 4 years, we really stayed in touch. Like sometimes I would meet them out in like Hoboken for drinks or something. It was cool. Like we all stayed in touch in the very beginning. Then, life takes us all different ways. Some moved on, went places. So still have their numbers in my phone. We follow each other on social media. So it's cool that I get this, still have some sort of relationship or see what's going on in their lives. They literally saved mine.
Yeah.
It's like full circle.
Totally. What was your support team like? And, who did you get the best support from?
Well, I want to take it back to, I guess, a lesson I learned. You treat people good your whole life, you're respectable. Like that cliche saying, doesn't matter if they're the janitor or CEO of a company or a janitor, you treat everyone the same way. That's how I was raised. I was taught like that. And when I needed people the most, when I felt like I was laying on my deathbed, they showed out for me. When they had to open up a whole nother waiting room because we took over a whole waiting room. People sneaking in my room, coming through all different entrances. It was amazing to see that outpouring of support. And my whole life, I'd like to make people laugh, be the light in the room. I'm the jokester, I'm the clown. That's always been me. So when people were coming in there, it was just people I haven't seen since middle school, high school, that are just coming to see me. It's like, you know what? I want to catch up with them too. I want to know what's going on within their lives. So it kind of takes you out of that mind of what's actually happening with your situation and what's going on in your life. And that's what I needed. That support system was coming daily, hundreds of people. And it was nuts though. The media was crazy because they were trying to pay off nurses just to give any information at the time on what was going on. It was just like a whole media whirlwind, but I was protected from that. But just to see the outpouring of support, and then the letters start to come in from people from all over the country and then all over the world, China, Australia, just that heard my story. But the one that touched me the most was a friend of mine, Steve Moore, who I grew up with in my hometown. We went to school from kindergarten all the way till we were seniors in high school and then, going off to college and stuff. But he wrote to me saying, like, Eric, I never told you this, but you've been a big inspiration in my life. You've always been a great person, the leader of this town. You give Avenel such a great name and some pride to be a part of. And I'm so happy to call you my friend. I know you're going through a tough time right now, but there's no one stronger that will get through this. And we know that we got your back through this whole thing. And my sister's reading this to me and I'm sitting there bawling my eyes out. Like when my sister would read me the letters, that's what would get me to break down. And when you're hearing this from friends that you didn't think you would ever hear something like that from, that support system really touched my heart. And that's why I'm just like, you know what? I got this.
That's amazing. In terms of, so you leave the hospital after 3 weeks, then you go to, you said you were in an inpatient. What about transitioning to now where you are today? Coming into, this is my day-to-day life, coming home. What was that like?
It made me gain a newfound appreciation on life. In the beginning, no one talked to me when I got to Kessler because they knew me as the Rutgers football player. So I would roll into the gym. Everyone would stop what they were doing and stare at me, go rolling by to the back where my therapist was. And then when I got to my therapist, they would turn their heads and go back to doing what they were doing. It was real awkward. Like everyone just they knew, somebody told them, don't talk to him. Me being the extrovert that I am, I wish I would have known that from the beginning, but no, come talk to me. But finally, 2 weeks later, a friend of mine that I met there, I was 20 at the time, he was 22, his name was Jermaine, came up to me, introduced himself. And from there, it allowed me to open up now to see he was in a wheelchair, somebody else around the same age as me, get to know him a little bit more. He started to hang around my family, my teammates, my friends. He had his upper body, so when I was at Kessler Rutgers, they took care of me. They brought my flat screen TV up, they had my Xbox there. They even put a satellite dish on top of my room, so I had all the channels. So my room was the hangout room after therapy.
you had the spot.
Yeah.
Mine was the spot. So he would come in there, play games, and other people would venture in, and I got to learn. I like, I'm not the only one that's going through this tragic moment. But look at the support system I have. Some of these people, they got nobody here. My grandma's cooking meals for this kid Jermaine on the weekends because he has nobody there. Wearing the same clothes 3-4 days in a row. You get to see, another friend, Ingrid, who got into a car accident and wasn't wearing her seatbelt. You hear stories like this. I'm just like, you know what? I really don't have much to complain about. I got so much, even though I can't do this, can't do that, but look what this person is dealing with and trying to now deal with this new lifestyle. And it just opened my eyes to be able to deal with, okay, this is going to be my everyday life. But be thankful and appreciative for everything you have, because these people here, unfortunately, Jermaine went on, he had cancer in his lower part of his spine, which was causing, his paralysis, the tumor that was there. He died 5 months later. And you hear stuff like that. After me and him, we kicked it every day. And it just like I said, opens up your eyes and makes you that much more appreciative.
Yeah, and I'm sure even just having your family there and your friends there, and you obviously made that time with him so much better than imagine you weren't there for him during those
That's so true. Like, we had a Super Bowl party, Thanksgiving, and we had like a little side room that they gave us because I had a bunch of people coming. See Jermaine come rolling, and they're like, "Hey, can I get a plate?" Like, come on in, man. Absolutely. Like, those moments you look back on them now, because it was around this time 10 years ago. Geez, I was just actually in the hospital coming back out. So, geez, thinking about it just puts you back in those moments and makes me more grateful now.
It's incredible that, not only just because, in 10 years that you've had this injury, but for anybody to have that much accomplished in 10 years is insane.
So now you're gonna make me brag about myself.
I
don't like to do it, but
so let's hear it.
So yes, being able to, after you start getting all these awards like the Jimmy V Perseverance Award, the espys, winning the Emmys for interviews, and then I start creating a foundation. Jermaine gave me the motivation for that to help cure paralysis, find a cure for it. There are 5.6 million people that are dealing with some sort of paralysis. So I always love giving back and having different events and making sure that spinal cord injury awareness is throughout the entire country, throughout the world. From there, you start getting into now, like you said, motivational speaking and becoming an author for a book, and taking my life journey and to see where I am, graduating from Rutgers in 2014. That was not easy. It wasn't fun, but figuring out how to do it, rushing to tutors, classes, doing my cell phone's right here, doing papers on my cell phone. That was, oh geez. I finding ways to get it done, and then to now open it up, into my entrepreneurship side. This whole COVID has allowed me to sit back and reflect on, I do motivational speaking and sports broadcasting, but there's so much more. And I got into listening to audiobooks and just inspired me and motivated me, especially Phil Knight's Shoe Dog book, who's the creator of Nike. To see, we know Nike as what it is. I had no idea what it was like, back when he was creating and all the struggles and the lawsuits and all that stuff that he went through. And then just inspired me. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take this leap of faith. I learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I'm proud to say that I'm opening up a coffee shop in my hometown next summer.
Nice.
I'm going online with this starting in January, February. And it's funny, I didn't have my first cup of coffee in my life until August. But all my friends talk about it. They send pictures every single day.
Full-blown coffee addict.
That's what I'm talking. See, it's funny. It's like I said, Legrand Coffee House.
Nice.
So it's just funny that I had my first cup of coffee in August. I'm like, damn, been missing out on this stuff. Huh?
It's good.
This is good stuff. So I'm very happy to just dive into that background now, and I can't wait to blow this up to Ashley. I think it's gonna be really good.
That is so dope.
Congrats.
We are
That's
1,000% coming to visit.
Hell yeah.
So
you guys better be there for the grand opening next summer in August.
Cappuccino, and I'll be there.
Don't worry, we'll have it all on deck for you guys.
Amazing.
Awesome.
From all you've accomplished in 10 years, that you obviously came a long way. You made a huge comeback. What's something that no one tells you about that?
The thing about the comeback that people don't know is the time where you are by yourself. Sometimes you get up and you can see me at this event, see me at that event, see me with that celebrity, doing this, doing that, during the day. But when you're by yourself, that's when you truly have to be mentally strong. When things, you want to do something and you have to rely on somebody else. You can't just go to this place or that place. Having, you know, the mental fortitude to put your energy towards something else. Like, damn, I can't do this right now, but let me work on this. Or, you know, I wish I can go out on this place, or wish I could meet somebody here, but no, I can't do that. You know, let me call a friend and see if they will bring me, stuff like that. You know, I'm so thankful that I have the, you know, support system to do that. But the time when you're alone and nothing is going on, still being able to stay mentally strong and not go into that deep, dark cave of like, oh, why me? Why is my life like this? This is so terrible, and things like that. So I would say that's the thing about the comeback, where people need to really focus on that time when you are alone and not everyone's cheering you on and wishing you well, being able to stay strong through that time.
So yeah, just to go off of that, like, what did you do while you were alone? Like, do you have any advice? What did you use to keep yourself either busy or in the right mind state?
You know, I find little hobbies, nothing even too crazy. Before my injury, TV, non-existent besides Sports Center. Now, got all the shows. Enjoying a nice Netflix and all the, you know, the Hulus and Amazon Prime. Whenever I get time, get to watch that. Never was a huge book guy until COVID. Ever. Never really liked books. Now, I guess I think I'm closing on my 10th audiobook that I've listened to, and I'm like, wow, it's actually pretty cool. Like, I like the whole reading. I like listening to it and formulating the whole, like, you know, scenario in my head and like making up my own characters and stuff, and like how it goes, like stuff like that. You know, it's been fun, or being able to just go out with my mom in the night when the weather's nice, going out for walks with the dog. Before my injury, I had a big Rottweiler, and then my responsibility in high school was to take him for his walk every single day. And, you know, after my injury happened and whatnot, I wasn't able to really do that, and I never thought about doing it. And now, you know, I have my other dog, my Cane Corso, Diesel. He's an Italian Mastiff. My mom walks him almost 2 miles every day, and when it's nice out, just getting out and going for a nice walk with my mom and the dog, you know, stuff like that. Just takes your mind away from just being in that why me situation and just like my life is terrible. It's little things, TV, books, walks, you know, I should say rolls.
I love that.
Keeping yourself busy.
What's the dog's name?
Diesel. He's a 138-pound mush.
Oh my God.
He is. I'm telling you, you can see. I'm gonna send you guys his Instagram.
I'm like Googling Italian man. What? I'm like thinking in my head, what is that? I'm like, I don't think I'm.
You're gonna see. They look very menacing, but this dog, I'm not like. Would you protect me if somebody came in here? And dog goes wild.
Wait.
I always say my Rottweiler, he was a gangster. My first dog, King, he was gangster. Diesel.
He's gonna run the other way.
No, but it's always like the little dogs that are nasty and aggressive. Like I have a little dog, and you saw on my Instagram story, she's dog of the month. I mean, like, no big deal. I know you've won a couple of awards, but like,
it's so funny.
Dog of the month? I mean, I don't know.
But then it's like the big dogs are like these little lap dogs that are just so friendly.
When I let him jump out on me, sometimes I let him jump on me, but he's just huge. I let him do it when he was a puppy. And now he's like this guy, and I'm like, all right, Diesel, come give me some love. And he's like, boom, right in my face. I'm like, oh my God. But he tries to climb up here. I'm like, you can't get up here anymore. Like, relax.
Aww.
Yeah, so animals are the best therapy, for sure. So what is the best advice you received?
Best advice I actually received before my injury. It's kind of how I live my life. And I go by a definition. It's a definition of success. And it's the peace of mind you get knowing you did everything you could to be the best you can be. If you know that you gave it your all at whatever it was, you should be able to look yourself in that mirror and at night say, you know what? I gave it my all. I was the best that I could actually be at whatever it was that day. Work project, family time, you know, just out and about with friends. I was the best that I could be. And then if you didn't, you know, God willing, you wake up that next day, you get to look in that mirror again and say, you know what? Here's my opportunity to be the best that I could be this day. I'm going to do that. When you start doing that, and you start adding up those days, that's where your life takes you. Amazing things happen.
Love that.
That's awesome.
We talked about all the things that you've accomplished in the last 10 years. You gave us your bragging rights. What are your goals for the next 10 years?
It's a great question. I want to continue to build my foundation, Team Legrand of the Christopher and Dana Reed Foundation. We've raised in 7 years $2 million for spinal cord injury research. Want to keep on building that, hopefully get over 5 million and get closer to that cure. It's crazy to see how far technology has come from 2010 to we are now. I always joke around. I said I had a BlackBerry Curve with the ball falling out back in 2010, and here I am now with the iPhone 11 Pro. Now the new 12 came out. Just to think of how far technology is. So I'm going to continue advancing that, and then my entrepreneurship goals. Like I said, this coffee house. We'll see how many I have. God willing, in the next 10 years, and other plans. I got some stuff in the bag that I can't release yet, but
never let them know.
Yeah.
Everything.
So I can't wait to see. Hopefully you'll see me on top of the game. On top of the world. I say with my fundraising aspect, and also the business life, and just me sharing my spinal to the world.
Amazing.
Wow. We are so excited to see what you have in store.
Hell yeah.
With the coffee shop. We are definitely coming to visit, and everything else. So we're so grateful that we were able to connect with you tonight and share your amazing story. I know so many people out there are going to be inspired by you and your persistence, and the strength, the mental toughness that it took to get to where you are today. Final words of wisdom for anybody watching at home.
My final words of wisdom, I say, everyone goes through tough times. Everyone's going to face adversity, whether you're 5 years old or you're 65 years old. How you handle that adversity will ultimately define you. How you look at the situation. Do you run away from it, let it succumb you, and then you just live a miserable life? Or do you look at it face on and deal with it? Say, I'm going to get through this. I may need some help. There's going to be speed bumps along the way, but I'm going to get through this. And remember, no matter how bad your situation may be, somebody always has it worse than you. Remember that. No matter how bad, whatever you're going through, learn how to say, I have it this bad, but compared to what? I can't do this. Well, oh yeah, compared to what? And then when you start looking at life like that, you're like, you know what? I face so bad. I know I have to go through this. We're humans. We're going to complain. That's just natural. But hey, you'll see when you start comparing things and realizing what you can do, you'll just live a much more grateful life.